Welcome to the Black Knight Nation podcast. I'm Sal Interdonato. The podcast is brought to you by Higher Echelon. Higher Echelon is a world-class consulting firm that trains employees in sports psychology secrets. Its founder, Joe Ross, is a former Army football player, former Army assistant coach, and we thank Joe Ross and Higher Echelon for sponsoring this podcast. And today we like to welcome into our podcast Army hockey coach Brian Riley. Brian, thanks for taking the time out. I know this is a big week for your team, preparing for the Atlantic Hockey postseason, and we appreciate the time today.
Hey, Sal, thanks for having me on. And obviously, Higher Echelon, Joe Ross, and a guy that I certainly know, great guy. I obviously follow all the coverage that you give to Army football, big Army football fan. But yeah, I'm glad that we're able to spend some time here today and talk a little hockey.
No doubt, no doubt. What a great season for you guys. And you think about, it's a different season, right? With the whole COVID protocols and stuff like that. And talking to Dave McGarity last week on this podcast, he wouldn't say it was the most difficult season, but he said it was the most challenging season. How do you feel about how you feel about that perspective for hockey?
No, I think that's perfect. For us right now, it's been the most challenging season, yet it's been one of the best seasons. Kind of challenging, obviously, from the aspect of COVID and having to deal with that, and with that being, the test every third day, the cancellations of games, the starting and stopping. We were once on a bus and found out that, what, we couldn't play the game that we thought we were going to be playing. And you know what, we talked about it at the start of the year. Control what you can control. That's the attitude that we've had, and our guys have done an unbelievable job with that. And I give so much credit, obviously, to our players, but to our firsties, to our seniors. They have just done a phenomenal job leading this team this year. And I think as a result of their leadership, that's one of the main reasons that we've been able to have the success that we've had so far.
It's been an amazing run right now, right? You have the longest unbeaten streak in the country, 11 games heading into this potentially this 3-game series with Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart is a team that you've seen 4 times this year, and you said played pretty close games with them. One in overtime, one was a shootout win. All 4 victories. Just first off, how you feel about the team coming into this week? Because I guess you did have a bye. You've had some time since the last time you took the ice, right? So what are kind of some of the things you've been focusing on this week to try to get your team prepared for Sacred Heart?
Well, first of all, Sacred Heart, you just talked about our games with them. We've had 4 games with them. All 4 games could have gone either way. We were fortunate to be on the right side of some bounces, and so we know that it's going to be a huge challenge for us. We're going to have to play really, really well if we're going to beat this team and move on. Having a bye, I think you work all year for that, because this year they changed the first round of our playoff basically to a knockout round where it's one and done, and that can be pretty scary. You could run into a hot goalie. There could be a bad call. So I think having the week off has been great for us, because we've been able to kind of work our schedule around where we've pretty much gone like a 2-day on, 1-day off kind of schedule. Allowed for some guys to heal up a little bit with the bumps and bruises. So we've enjoyed this week or last week, bye week. And our focus hasn't really been on Sacred Heart. I mean, all year our focus has really been on us and doing the things that we need to do to be a successful hockey team.
Yeah, I mean, before this, maybe it was during this streak, some really hockey history going on with the 1,000th win in your family, right? I mean, that is, man, you look at the Riley name in American hockey, it's such a huge huge name and has a lot of history behind it. I guess there was, and I think you've also faced one of your family members too on
Yep.
the opposite end, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what's this season been like as far as like dealing with all that stuff?
Yeah, so the milestone, right? 1,000 wins with the Rileys. Obviously, my dad, and then my brother took over for him. Um, if you add up 1,000 wins, I know where I am in the pecking order, right? Like I'm not a math guy, but I know I'm below those two guys. So, but you know what the amazing thing was, Sal? Not the 1,000 wins, but the 70 years, right? It's been 70 years. My dad came here. He said to take the job, 1950 for 1 year, and he wound up staying for 36. And I guess coaching's been in our family blood. Obviously, my brother Rob was the head coach here. Now I'm the head coach. You just talked about my nephew Brett, Rob's son, took over Long Island University this year. My oldest son Jack is in his final year of grad assistant at Manhattanville. My youngest son Brendan just started this year teaching and coaching at a prep school. So it's something that's in the blood. And I guess obviously growing up around the rink all the time, it kind of steered us in the direction of coaching.
Yeah, I remember. Hey, I know golfing's in your family a little bit too
Yeah.
because your son Brendan. I remember talking to him on the course a
Yeah.
couple of times. I mean, he can play. He's a really good golfer too. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, so obviously very competitive. There was a day when I could beat both Brendan and Jack on the golf course. I still think I can beat Jack, but Brendan, no, I can't beat him. But golf's it seems like a natural sport for hockey players. And when we weren't around the rink in the summer with my dad, we were always around the golf course. And it's a great opportunity to have family time, but it does get pretty competitive. And I remember back when Brendan was in high school and you were covering the Section 9 golf tournament. Jack and I were actually walking around with him. He was playing really well, and then he had one bad hole, and that was kind of it. But we do like to get on the course with each other, and anytime you can spend time with family, that's always a good thing.
no doubt. And to have both of your sons right in, kind of maybe following the family tradition and getting into that coaching kind of pipeline, right? I mean, I guess you don't really. You're not really facing Manhattanville, so I'm wondering. There's got to be phone calls, right? Them
Oh yeah.
asking advice, or you sharing it, stuff,
Yeah.
and they're giving you their ideas and that kind of stuff. So
Well, so I just spent the last 5 years, I think, coaching against Brendan and Jack because they were playing for Mercyhurst, which is in our league. Um, and I remember the first time it was pretty neat, seeing Jack, because I remember what it was like to play against my dad and his teams. And you just wanted to make your dad proud with how you played. And I'm sure they felt the same way. Probably one of the biggest highlights that I'll take with me when my coaching career is over. Jack was a senior. I think Brendan was a sophomore. And they came into play here and they announced your starting lineup, and left wing from West Point, New York, number 3, Jack Riley; right wing from West Point, New York, number 6, Brendan Riley. It was just really neat because here they were playing in the rink that they grew up in front of family and friends. And so just being around the rink so much, I remember when Jack was a senior, I kind of looked at him and I was like, Jack, so what do you want to do? And he gave me a look like, why are you asking that, Dad? What do you think I want to do? I want to coach. I'm like, okay. So I guess not surprised that they have gone down this path because they grew up, obviously with their grandfather and then their Uncle Rob, and their dad being around coaching. And they both have a good feel for the game, and I'm already kind of watching them with a lot of pride, and I know that they'll have success in the coaching ranks.
No doubt. They got to be really proud of the season that no doubt they follow Army hockey, and they got to be really proud of the season that you guys have had this year. What was your feeling on this team coming into the season? Because like we said, there were little unknowns coming in, and what was your feeling on this team?
So, Sal, like, we lost a really good senior class last year, and I remember thinking, man, it's going to be hard to replace those guys. But I also tell people, if in your program you are graduating really good players every year, your program's in a good spot, and we've been doing that the last few years. But I'm not going to lie, I was a little nervous. And then when they finally figured out the schedule, I think 4 of our first 6 games were against AIC, which was, they won the league the last couple of years. They were picked to win the league. And the worst thing about this year was the start. We had practiced so much, and then 2 days before we were ready to open the season, we got shut down for about 2 weeks. Then we came back and we practiced for a couple of days, and we started up. Then we had to stop for exams. And then I made a decision at Christmas, to let our guys go home for a longer than what we normally would. And I don't regret that decision at all. I know that was the right decision from the mental health standpoint of your players, but we were never, ever able to gain much traction early. But then when we came back from Christmas, then we kind of got into a routine, and we started to gain that traction. And I think really most importantly, we kind of created, or we found out what we wanted to be, what our identity was going to be as a team. And as a result, we haven't looked back. I mean, it's been a fantastic couple months for us. And obviously a lot of close games that could have gone either way. But I think the big thing with our team, Sal, is, and I tell people, there's a huge difference between hoping to win and expecting to win. And maybe at the start of the year, we were hoping to win. But now our mindset is, every game we play, you know what, we expect to win. Our guys expect to win. So it's been really fun to be a part of this. And, people ask me, what am I doing? And I tell them, I'm just trying to stay out of their way, right? Like, kind of give them direction and push them in that direction. But our team has been a really, really close team. Like I was talking at the beginning of this, our seniors, our leadership group has done an amazing job. And I think that's one of the reasons that we've been able to have the success that we've had.
Yeah, there's something about culture, right? Because I was talking to Cole Christensen yesterday about the football team, and how when they had those really 2 good years, they felt no matter when they took the field, they were going to win. And it seems like this team too has just that confidence that, no matter who they're playing, no matter when the game is, what time, where it is, they like you said, there's an expectation there, and they expect to win. And when you have some experienced players like you have, especially your goalie, right? Trevin has a lot of experience. Trevin Kozlowski, he's one of the best goalies in the country. When you have that kind of experience, especially maybe in the pipe, that breeds a lot of confidence, I'm guessing.
No, and guess what? You can't just go grab confidence on the corner, right? Like, I mean, it's something that, like Cole talked about, it's got to be within the culture, and culture is so important. Culture is something that you have to guard every day, and from a coach to your seniors, to your leaders. So our culture right now with this group is really good, confidence wise. I always tell guys, half of being good is thinking you're good. And you know what? Our guys have a high confidence level right now. And I think, to what you said and to what Cole said, it's about the culture in the room. I can go in and have a meeting with our guys, The most important meeting is the meeting after. The most important meeting is when I walk out of the room. And if your culture is really good, then you know what? Your leaders will be stepping up and making sure that the message that they heard from the coach is the same message that they're hearing from the leaders of the team. So I love our culture right now. I love the confidence level that we're playing with.
Yeah, it seems like just from following the last few times you took the ice. I mean, you have a phenomenal scorer in Colin Billick, right? But you have some guys that have really stepped up too and really help support him in scoring. And I think the last one of the last games I remember you playing, Thomas Farrell had a good game for
Yeah,
you, right? And
yeah,
there's a defenseman with a hat trick, you know,
yeah,
and like,
yeah.
and that's when you know your power play is working. You know your special that that's when you know kind of the team is playing as one and as a whole when all those things are clicking, right?
Absolutely. So at the start of the year, I think Colin, he scored some goals, and we had some other guys that we were counting on that weren't finding the back of the net. And you can't just be a one dimensional. You can't just rely on one or two guys. You got to have secondary scoring. And um, in the last month, that secondary scoring has popped. And it's, whether it be Eric Butte, who um, may not have scored as much as he would have liked early, Daniel Hyder, Thomas Farrell. I could go down the list, and it's that power of one, right?
Yeah.
Like now we are playing as a team, and when you have that power of one, you can accomplish anything. You can achieve. You can climb any mountain, and so you can handle adversity. And right now we kind of have that feeling of that power of one mentality. And we're getting, obviously, Trev's doing a great job in goal. Um, our decor has, knock on wood, done defensively. We're one of the top teams in the country, so they're doing a great job. Our forwards, we have different guys, stepping up every night. What you just talked about, Sal, was the special teams, our power play. Again, our power play is up there in the top 10 in the country, and so we do have a lot of things that are working to bring this team into that power of one mentality.
Yeah, you look at Hyder. I thought he had in maybe a weekend. He had like overtime, a couple overtime goals to send
Yeah,
you guys to victory, right? And I mean, it's
yeah,
just like that's stepping up right there. I mean, plain and
no,
simple, right?
exactly. And there was a time when we just didn't have, like you said, guys stepping up, but now every game it seemed to be somebody else, whether it was Hides, who had back-to-back overtime game winning goals, or Thomas, Booty, Belos, Lang. I mean, I could go down. So it is definitely our success has been built around the team, not one or two people, and that's so important, because now teams just can't focus on, all right, hey, if we shut down Colin Bielik, then you know what, we're going to shut Army down. Well, that's not the case, because other guys have been stepping up, and I would anticipate that other guys will continue to step up.
Yeah, no doubt. Is there anybody on the team that you have seen step up? A guy that maybe was maybe not in the plans early, but has really come on toward the late in the season. Are there guys out
Yeah.
there on this team?
Well, so we had a couple guys that have been out for the season, that would have been contributors for us. So it probably kind of forced our hand to get some of these younger guys, some of the plebes, um, more ice time than maybe we would have liked early. But I'll tell you what, they're not playing like plebes right now. So I would say that our plebe class has really grown as a group, and um, they have stepped up. So now, second half of the season, second semester, that they have put themselves in positions where they have been difference makers. And the other group is our firsties, our seniors. Um, I always hope that guys will have their best year, their senior year, and that's hard to do here at West Point because you know what? There's a lot on their mind,
Yeah.
whether it be branch night, post night, graduation. Um,
Course load, right? The course
yeah.
load
Oh,
too. Yeah.
and the academic piece that's always a lot on your plate. But our seniors have each of them. You know what? They've had really really good years, and I'm just really happy for them that hopefully we'll continue to keep winning. But each of our seniors has played a huge role in our success this year. So that makes me really really happy.
Yeah, we talked about the challenge of this season, but it's got to be for you as a coach a rewarding season, no doubt, too. Not just looking at records and
Mhm.
just to see how far this team has come from the start and now where you are right now and the opportunity that you have in front of you, right?
Yeah, well, this will go down, and I think between head and assistant, I don't know, 29, year 29, almost 30. This will go down, no doubt, as one of the most rewarding seasons that I have ever been involved with in coaching, not only here at West Point, but in my whole coaching career, just because of all the hurdles that you had to get over, just to play a season, just to play a game, just to have a practice. And so, speaking to that, I mean, I have to give a shout out to our administration, our superintendent, General Williams. I tell everybody, he has been committed, along with our athletic director, Mike Buddy, um, to do whatever they can to, put cadets in a position where they are safe and they are able to compete because they understand the leadership development piece and how important competing is. So again, the soup, General Williams, Mike Buddy, and oh my gosh, like the medical staff here, Tim Kelly, who oversees all of the trainers and um, what they have done throughout the year. It's just been amazing to kind of watch them, and so I'm really really grateful that we've been able to have a season, and wouldn't have been able to have a season if it weren't for some of those people that I just mentioned there.
Yeah, and you look at a season without fans, right? But I saw last night. Was it last night where you did a little Zoom with the season ticket holders?
Yes.
What
Yeah.
was that like for you to see those
So
faces, familiar faces, so to speak?
yeah. I mean, it's we have great season ticket holders. That was the third one that we did during the season. I mean, and oh wow, like I just feel awful that they missed out on this year. Like I know they've all watched the games, um, but it's not the same. And we've been fortunate to, I think there's like 100 cadets that they allow to come to our games, and they make a lot of noise. And um, I was I was curious what it was going to be like, and I'll never forget the first game. We were at Bentley, kind of looking around, and then the next night we were back here. But you know what? Once the puck is dropped, um, the intensity that both teams bring to the ice is still there, and obviously we would love to have fans. You know, look forward to hopefully next year when we'll people will be back here in Tape Rink and um, but it's definitely been different without having fans in the building and doing the Zoom talk with our season ticket holders was really good and um, we get great support here, for hockey and very very grateful to all of those people that come to the rink here every year.
Yeah, now we'll move on to the matchup this weekend against Sacred Heart. You were saying that it's a 3 game series, so yeah, you
Yep.
have this unbeaten streak that you're riding right now.
Yep.
But if there happens to be a hiccup, there is a second game, and the way you were talking about Sacred Heart, no doubt, there's a lot of respect there that you have
Yep.
for the team that's played you really close in 4 games this year. What kind of series are you looking forward to from your team? What do you want to see out of your team early against a team like Sacred Heart?
Yeah. So again, like Sacred Heart, like we talked about earlier, Sal. I mean, 4 very, very close games could have gone either way. So I would anticipate it's going to be the same thing here this weekend. They have some of the best forwards in our league. So defensively, we are going to have to be stingy and hard to play against, in our end. And we have to make sure that they like to play a transition type game, get the puck and try to make stuff happen off the rush. Like we're going to have to do a great job back checking and come back in numbers against them. And then for us offensively, we've just kind of become a team that wants to get pucks in down below the goal line, and if they have it, we're doing whatever we can to try to get it back. Our guys, we call hunting pucks. Like we've got some guys that I think do a great job as far as reloading and hunting pucks. We're going to have to do that. They have 2 goalies that play the puck very well. So you have to be smart in where you place the puck. If you're going to try to get the puck below the goal line, you have to keep it off their goalie stick because they're like having another defenseman back there. They will break the puck out. And then of course discipline. At this time of the year, you cannot take selfish bad penalties, right? So that'll be an important, I think, message that our guys will understand going into the weekend.
We talked a little bit about your goalie on your side, Trevor Kozlowski. He's been around the program for a while. He's had a major impact on what you guys have done, not just this year. What does the future hold for him after West Point? Do you think there's a future for him at the pro level?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, obviously you can't teach 6'4", right? Like he's one of those kind of what you see in the NHL now, the big goalies. And I'm starting to get calls about him. So if he can continue to play how he's playing, I'm sure somebody might want to give him an opportunity. Regardless, you know what? He branched infantry. He's going to be a great infantry officer, great leader. I know the young men and women that he's going to lead are going to love him. He's such a team first guy. So whatever happens for him as far as hockey, we'll see where that goes. But I know at some point he's going to lead this nation's sons and daughters, and he's going to do a fantastic job when he has that opportunity.
When you were recruiting him, what popped off the charts with him? What was it? Just size, or what was it? His personality?
Yeah, I mean, size was definitely something, but to talk to him, his personality, his prep school team, was winning. He was the prep school player of the year. So he just had a lot of things going for him, but he just has this personality that you just kind of fall in love with them, and you're like, hey, this is the type of young man that we want in our locker room, because we talked about earlier, Sal, culture, right? Like you got to make sure that you have the right people in the room, and we knew that having him in our locker room would go a long ways toward continuing to make sure that our culture is where it needs to be year in and year out.
Yeah, so you take the ice on Friday's game 1, 5:05 at Tate Rink. Game 2 will be, 5:05 on Saturday, and if there is their need for a game 3, that'll be Sunday, I believe, at 5:05. Just want before we get out of here, just wanted to ask you a little bit about. It's a little bit of a reporter's question, Brian. So I apologize.
All right.
But is there any pressure right now, considering you're on such this unbeaten streak? Do you feel any pressure, you and your players, heading into this weekend?
No, you know what? We've never talked about any streak, even all year. Like we have a standings board in our locker room, and the only thing that I would tell the guys about the standings board is, hey, if we keep winning, everything will take care of itself. And it just kind of been in the moment, like that game. And so right now, you know what? I don't feel any pressure. I don't think our guys do. Yeah, we have the longest unbeaten streak in the country, but um, I I think there's still people that don't even realize it, you know. So
Mm.
we're just kind of doing our thing, and now you see there's more of a groundswell with, oh man, like look at Army hockey, like look what those guys are doing, and you're starting to see talk in the national at the national level about rankings, and so we're not getting caught up in that because we haven't all year. So um, we just know that this weekend's going to be a great opportunity to play a really good team, and um, yeah, like it's too bad that there aren't fans in the stands, because they, no doubt they would see, you know what, some very, very, very good college hockey, and yeah, so no pressure, just like looking forward to this next opportunity, you know, and we'll try to make the most of it.
And you can keep on getting the shout outs from John Buccigross, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you keep on, you advance, you keep on the potential of getting the shout outs from Booch, right?
Yeah, Butchie's an Army hockey fan, so you know what? I'm sure if we can have some success this weekend, then he'll, you know, he does a great job in kind of getting our story out there. So, and in the hockey world, certainly, he's a guy that you want to have do that, because everybody in college hockey, everybody who's a hockey fan, knows who he is, and follows him on social media.
No doubt. Just one more question I was thinking about. I was
Yeah.
talking to Joe Abarisi about this in lacrosse. Has there been anybody on your team that's really had to overcome like an injury or something that to get back on the ice? Is there like a good story there with one of your players or?
Yeah. I'm sure there's. I'm trying to think. We've had guys whose careers have been ended because of concussions, and you know what? Like when that happens, I would tell them that it's not a hip or it's not a knee. You can't get a brain replacement, right? You only have one brain.
Yeah.
Um, so we've had some careers end that way. We've had a lot of guys have surgeries at the end of one year, mostly on shoulders, and then we're able to, after 5 months, come back. Our backup goalie, Justin Evenson, like he had surgery last year, and he was done from March until September, and now he's back full swing. So yeah, there's always a couple guys that have to battle through some of those injuries and surgeries, and it's always great to see, because you know how much playing hockey means to them. So they are always dialed in when it comes to the rehab, and uh, yeah. So every year or every other year, there's always somebody that has to go down that hard path of rehabbing an injury from the surgery, and doing whatever they can to get back on the ice.
Yeah, I guess I was getting at a little bit maybe with that question about just the physical style of play. Is it the NHL compared to college?
Yeah,
What the style of play is, and you see the NHL can be a really physical game, and I think that just watching college hockey too, when you get to that level, it certainly can be, no doubt. It's a finesse game sometimes too, but it is a very physical game on the college level too, right?
Oh, so the college game, usually it's like a 28 game league schedule. So,
Mm.
and then you have like 6 games, so 34 league games. I mean, the intensity level at the pro level, I mean, they play so many games normally, but then when you get to the playoffs, I mean, it's a whole new animal, right? So, the intensity level at the college level is there every night, and obviously, I'm a strong believer in. I don't care what sport. If you're at West Point and you put on a jersey that has Army across your chest, you better be tough. You better be physically tough, and you don't have to be the biggest guys, but because you know what, the team that you are lined up against, they're expecting you to be tough, and if you aren't, you know what? That plays into their hands. If you are physically tough, then you're kind of in their heads, and you know what they're thinking. Oh my God, in our sport, we got to play these guys for 2 more periods, or we got to come back and play these guys again tomorrow night. So having that physical toughness, that is definitely one of our pillars. And like I said, I just think that goes along. I don't care if you're talking Army football, Army lacrosse, like same thing. If you watch those teams, they are physically tough. And so that's part of who we are as well.
No doubt. We'll expect a high intensity, tough game on Friday night when you open the Atlantic League quarterfinals against Sacred Heart at Tate Rink, 5:05 Friday. Brian, thanks a lot. We really appreciate you joining us on the Black Knight Nation podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Hey, Sal, thanks for having me. And I appreciate all you do to promote all the Army teams here at West Point. Thanks again.